I've got all this stuff taking up space, but I don't want to be bothered with the hassle of having a garage sale. Well, why don't you call Reliable Resellers? Reliable Resellers? Yeah, Reliable Resellers. They buy all sorts of items from toys to jewelry to collectibles, and best of all, they come to you and pay in cash. Oh wow, how do I get in touch with them? Easy. Just call 813-421-5676 or go to their website, reliableresellers.net. I'm calling Reliable Resellers right now.
My wife jokes all the time when telling people about me, but I would always wear khakis and business dress shirts, even in high school, and so my nickname was Business Casual Dan. The railway was actually fun. It was actually a paid acting gig, which not many people get to say they did. I didn't get paid a lot. I mean, we're talking dozens of dollars, and maybe a free dinner. I mean, my whole take is that we're called to love God and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And the best way to do that, or the way that I do that, is by helping as many people achieve their dreams as possible. I was just sharing with my 14-year-old son the concept from Stephen Covey's book this morning about big rocks. You know, you've got to put the priorities in your schedule first, and then you can fit in the secondary priorities, and then you can fit in the little stuff. And believe it or not, you'll have room for all the stuff in life if you put the priorities first. You know, when somebody comes into SmartStart for the first time, I usually ask them, what's holding you back? You know, why are you here? What's holding you back from starting your business or pursuing your dreams? They usually give me one of 5 responses. They either say they don't have the workspace, or they need funding, or they need more education, or they need to collaborate with other entrepreneurs, or they just need some guidance. And even if someone's not part of the SmartStart program, if you need help figuring that out, or just kind of a 30-minute conversation to know how to, what do I do now? You know, call us. When somebody comes to me and wants to start a business, if I had to predict whether they're going to succeed or not, it has nothing to do with education. It doesn't have to do with their business plan. Doesn't have to do with how much money they have. It's, do they have the grit? Do they have the I'm just going to do it no matter what attitude? The Art of Business is a great podcast. I recommend everybody listen to it. Share it far and wide.
Welcome to The Art of Business. I'm your host, Eric Baker. I sit down with entrepreneurs right here in Dade City and the surrounding areas to find out about their backgrounds, how they built their businesses, and what their secrets for success are. I have a very special episode for you today. Today, I'm joined with Mr. Dan Mitchell. He is the SMARTstart Program Director at the Pasco Economic Development Council. The Pasco EDC is located at 16506 Point Village Drive in Lutz, Florida. You can also find them online at SMARTstartPasco.com and PascoEDC.com. Do you have an idea for a business, but you're just not exactly sure where or how to start? Do you already have an existing business that you're ready to take to the next level, but could use someone to talk to for advice? Do you need funding to get your business going? Whatever the case may be, my guest today can certainly help you. Dan's a college graduate, a father, a husband, a Christian, a volunteer, a mentor, a certified financial planner, an actor, an established business person, and he serves on the board for Hope Services, just to name a few. Dan and I go into depth and detail about the SmartStart program, how to get involved, all the different ways in which they can help aspiring entrepreneurs, all the perks and benefits, and a whole lot more. But let's start to set the foundation on this podcast, and let's get to know Dan on a personal level. I understand that you're a Florida native. You're from Fort Myers originally.
Well, I was born in Jersey, but I grew up down in Fort Myers. So
Gotcha.
I moved down here when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I was probably 5.
Okay.
So, yeah, I grew up in Fort Myers and then moved up here to Pasco County later in life.
Okay, gotcha. And let's see, you went to Mariner High School.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go Tritons, black and silver.
Right on, right on. So what type of things were you into back in high school?
Oh, geez. My wife jokes all the time when telling people about me, but I would always wear khakis and business dress shirts, even in high school. And so my nickname was Business Casual Dan.
Okay, nice. I like that.
So, no, just being involved, in a lot of the different clubs, the honor societies, French club. We even had a young magician society. So,
oh, you were a magician.
The epitome of dork, I think.
Okay.
I held that title pretty strongly, but high school was fun.
Right on. What kind of magic would you do?
Just card tricks and things like that, just for fun. There were kids in that club that were really great that did awesome things, and I was not one of them. I mean, we had a guy that made snow come down in the middle of the courtyard, and people that levitated and all kinds of nuts.
Oh, no way!
I couldn't do any of that.
Okay. Do you still do tricks now? Do you still?
Only for fun with the kids.
Okay. All right, I got you. And so you graduated from Florida Gulf Coast University back in 2003.
That's right. Go Eagles.
And so you studied business administration and management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you went on to earn your certification as a financial planner from the College for Financial Planning back in 2013.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. So it sounds like you had a pretty good idea that you wanted to be involved in business and finance in some way.
Always.
Okay.
Yes.
So what was the motivation for wanting to be involved in business and finance?
So, I grew up in a lower income family, parents, 2 different houses, that type of thing, reduced lunch. Anyway, it started maybe when I was in middle school. I'd be given like my 45 cents to go get my reduced lunch. But, on Fridays they had pizza and sodas you could buy.
Yeah.
My 45 cents isn't going to buy pizza and a soda. So I'd stop at the Circle K that was across from my bus stop, pick up some Airheads, some Blow Pops, resell them, make some money, and now I didn't have to do the reduced lunch. I could have my Domino's pizza and Gatorade or whatever.
Oh, right on. So a natural born hustler.
So it just kept going from there.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. And then let's see, you worked as an actor for Seminole Gulf Railway.
Yeah, that was fun. I acted on the Murder Mystery Train. I'd always been in community theater. We acted in high school a little bit, but the railway was actually fun. It was actually a paid acting gig, which not many people get to say they did. I didn't get paid a lot. I mean, we're talking dozens of dollars.
Yeah.
And maybe a free dinner. But it was a great time.
Yeah, awesome. So what did you do for them? Like, were you like playing the part in the like you were one of the people who were doing?
Yeah, so they'd have a different show every few weeks. It would switch up. At one point, I was Santa Claus during the Christmas season. Another part, I was like a music agent when they had like a fake Beatles murder mystery where one of the Beatles was murdered on the train. And so just different parts.
So any interest in being an actor full time?
Not really. I've just always had fun getting in front of people, being on camera, on stage. So
yeah.
Okay,
awesome, man, awesome. All right, so then let's see. You started working for Edward Jones in 2006 as a financial advisor, and you were there for, I believe, 6.5 years?
Something like that.
Okay, and then you switched over to USAA in 2015 and were there for almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then on to Thrivent Financial, and now, of course, you're at EDC there in Pasco.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. So those are some large companies. I mean, I think I've heard of all of those names before.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was it like to work in those environments?
Yeah. So most of my career before working as a financial planner and during, I've really ran my own business. So as a financial planner, you have your practice. So you have the structure of whatever broker dealer you're working with, but then you have the autonomy to run your show how you want to run it for the most part. So being able to serve helping people achieve their dreams financially is really why I did that. I mean, I got to talk to people about why money is important to them and then give them strategies and tactics to accomplish whatever their goals are.
Sure.
And then taking that experience into what I do now is pretty much the same thing, just from an entrepreneurship perspective instead of personal finance.
Gotcha. Okay, so then the experiences that you gained working in those places to kind of help you get to where you are now is kind of what you just said.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so I understand that you're also a father and a husband. Mm-hmm. I believe you have 6 beautiful children and your great wife, Deja, for whom you've been married for over 12 years.
Yep.
Okay. I was hoping you could give us the backstory there. How'd you guys meet?
Oh, wow. So Deja and we were... I was traveling for work at the time. I worked for Edward Jones, and I was working up here in Pasco County. I was something called a transitional representative. So whenever Edward Jones would have a broker, let's say, pass away or get called up on active duty or something like that, I would come into their office and take over. So I was working in Newport Richey, and I had met my wife at an event. It was actually an event. It was a TV special, and I stopped by a Tampa ale house to watch the TV special, and that's where I met my wife. The TV special was a Glenn Beck TV special, right at the beginning of like the Tea Party movement.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so we met there. Fast forward just under a year, and Glenn Beck called my wife at work on a situation very similar to this. My wife picks up and says, "Hello, this is Daisha. He says, Daisha, this is Glenn Beck. I have Dan on the line. He has a question for you. So I asked her to marry me on Glenn Beck's national radio show.
No way.
So we might be the only couple ever engaged on Glenn Beck's show.
That's cool.
And the rest, 6 kids later, and some successful businesses and a great life. The rest is history.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. I'm not sure why I didn't find that. Okay, so it sounds like your family plays a very important role in your life. Definitely. Okay, how do they influence you? I mean, what kind of role do they play for you?
Well, let's just say, I mean, there's God first, and then me and my wife, and then the kids. And you know, my whole take is that we're called to love God and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And the best way to do that, or the way that I do that, is by helping as many people achieve their dreams as possible. But how can I help other people achieve their dreams if I haven't first helped my family achieve their dreams and have good examples? So we're in it together. We're a team. There's no circumstance we can't overcome if we treat it as such.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love that. And so my next question here is perfect. So follow with what you just said. So you're also a Christian and a follower of Christ. So I was hoping you could kind of articulate what impact does Christ play for you?
Yeah, I mean, I just got there, but the greatest commandment is to love one another.
Yes, sir.
To love our neighbor.
Yes, sir.
That's it. You can hang all the junk, all the old law, all the politics, all the legalism. You can hang all of that on that greatest commandment. And if you just love one another and love the Lord, that's it. That's all we got to do.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love that. Now, let's see. You're also on the board for Hope Services. Mm-hmm. So can you sort of talk about what your involvement is with that organization and kind of how you got involved with them?
Sure. So Hope Services is a nonprofit that helps folks with unique abilities, disabilities, maybe learning or health or all different things, work with state funding to get jobs, to get on-the-job training, to get job placements. And so I serve on the board with that organization. It's just a way that I can give back to the community and be a part of something. I had known Joe and Cindy Bray of Hope Services for quite a while. And so they knew my experience and asked if I could help out on the board. And so I do it. It's very enjoyable, and they're doing really good work.
How long have you been with them?
We're about a year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha. And so I seen on your Facebook page, you do a lot of volunteering with different food banks and things like that. So what all types of volunteering are you into?
All kinds of stuff. It really depends on what's going on in the world at the time, what people need. But our family, I teach the kids, my wife and I teach our kids that when you see a need, you just jump in and see what you can do to fill it. So everything from when Hurricane Michael came through and hit the Panhandle, we literally loaded the kids up in the car, took a U-Haul, spent a week at the kids' school collecting stuff, drove it up to Mexico Beach. I forget the name of the town, but up in the Panhandle. But everything. I mean, and the main goal isn't just to give to the community, but it's to teach our kids how important that is.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Being a good role model. I love that. Okay, so now this portion of the show is sponsored by Reliable Resellers. Reliable Resellers provides a hassle-free and profitable way to downsize your life. If you want to remove the clutter and you're thinking of downsizing, call the pros at Reliable Resellers. 813-421-5676 or visit them online at reliableresellers.net. All right, so now let's start talking about the Pasco Economic Development Council and the SMARTstart program. So I think we should probably start with the EDC, considering the program is their program. So can you talk to us a little bit about the Pasco EDC?
Sure. So the Pasco Economic Development Council, who I work for now in my current role, is a nonprofit that is funded by private and public dollars. So there's some Pasco County tax dollars, there's some Penny for Pasco funding, and there's also private donors that contribute of our local businesses in Pasco County. The goal of the Pasco EDC is to get businesses to start here, move here, and grow here. So generate jobs, generate economic opportunity for everybody, stimulate a diversified economy. My job is to focus on that start piece.
Yes, sir.
So I help entrepreneurs start businesses in Pasco with the SMARTstart program.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. And so, so moving into the SMARTstart program here. Now, I pulled this directly from your website. So, whether you're an established small business or just starting a business, the Pasco Economic Development Council has the tools you need to establish and grow a strong business in Pasco County. Our SMARTstart Small Business Program is an innovative suite of programs that provides the tools growing businesses need for long-term success. So again, I was hoping here you could expand a little bit more on that and just tell us a little bit more about SMARTstart and what those innovative suite of programs are.
Yeah. So, when somebody comes into SMARTstart for the first time, I usually ask them, what's holding you back? Why are you here? What's holding you back from starting your business or pursuing your dreams? They usually give me one of 5 responses. They either say they don't have the workspace, or they need funding, or they need more education, or they need to collaborate with other entrepreneurs, or they just need some guidance.
Sure.
And so depending on what they answer, I have got programs that fit that need. Some people need just one, some people need all 5. So for funding, we have our microloan up to $50,000 that you can use to start your business. For education, we have classes and workshops, a 9-week boot camp called Co-Starters. For workspace, we have 3 business incubators across the county that actually have workspace that you can work out of. Each one has a different kind of flavor. Collaboration, we have an entrepreneurship roundtable that meets once a month. You're surrounded by other entrepreneurs during your time with us.
Okay.
And then guidance, all of our members get monthly coaching. If you're not getting monthly coaching from myself, then we have a network of individuals and other organizations that we can refer you to as well.
Okay, awesome. That sounds fantastic. Was it in 2017 when the program first began?
I don't know the exact date. I want to say 2014.
14. Okay.
But I don't have it in front of me.
That's okay. And the motivation for creating the program?
Really to launch new businesses here in Pasco. My boss, the president of the EDC, Bill Cronin, he always likes to use an example of Cleveland. Cleveland isn't like Florida. There's not sunshine and water, and yet there's headquarters that exist there. Well, why do they exist there? Well, they didn't move there. It's because they started there.
Yes, sir. Sure.
So
yeah.
Let's start businesses here. We don't always have to get them to move here. So
gotcha. Okay. Now, do you remember who was the very first business that was helped from the program, or maybe the first that you helped?
Well,
maybe?
yeah, I know a couple that were there in the beginning. One is a great, and we have a testimonial video that he put together. You can find on the website. One is a gentleman named Thomas Giella, and he started a company called Complete IT. So he started in our SMARTstart incubator in Dade City. He's since launched. Now he has, I believe, 6 or 7 employees, his own facility, a ton of clients, and he's always a proud supporter. Gets out there and talks about us and supports us and teaches other entrepreneurs. So he's a great example.
Oh, perfect. Okay, fantastic. Now, so I have had a few people on the show now that have mentioned SMARTstart. Mary Catherine over at Lanky Lassie, she was one of my first guests to bring you guys up, and she talked about your kitchen incubator program. Yeah. So what exactly is your kitchen incubator program?
Yeah. So Mary Catherine's one of my favorite stories just because it's memorable. And her shortbread's tasty.
Yeah.
So the Kitchen Incubator is a partnership with the Pasco Economic Development Council, the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners, and the University of Florida Pasco County Extension. It's based in Dade City on the corner of 14th and Locke Street in a building that they call One Stop Shop, or the Stallings building. And the idea behind the Kitchen Incubator is it gives food businesses a place that is fully inspected and permitted, so that they can get their retail permit or they can get their manufacturer's permit. So you can't just start cooking out of your house and selling it. Some products you can, and that's called cottage food laws, but some you can't. Or if you want to grow past the point of being a cottage food product and start to sell wholesale, then you need a commercial and a health inspected kitchen. So we provide that.
Gotcha.
For very inexpensively, $100 a month, and a food business can launch out of the Dade City kitchen.
Wow. Okay. Is it pretty easy to get in that program?
There is an application process. It's not difficult. I mean, if you've got a scalable business and you have a need and you're in Pasco County, then you can get in the program generally.
Okay. So how does someone? So I have a business. I'm looking for some assistance. I want to get into the SMARTstart program. How do I go about doing it?
Yeah, the first step is to visit SmartStart's website at smartstartpasco.com. On that website, you can sign up for our newsletter. We have a ton of free classes and workshops that you can attend. So if you're just at the point where you're just, you have an idea, you want to feel us out, you want to see what it's all about, go to our event calendar, come to one of the free classes or workshops. If you're just at the idea stage, you're willing to spend a little bit of money and you want to turn your idea into a business model, come through Co-Starters. That's our 9-week boot camp. Okay. It's $295, but you get the material. There's 7 subject matter experts that come out. We feed you each week, and you get to kind of live that launch phase with 4 or 5 other entrepreneurs going through that same 9-week cohort. And it's a really neat experience.
$300 isn't bad.
No,
it doesn't sound bad at all.
I know we got to raise it one of these days. But
are there any requirements, age levels? Do you have to already have an EIN number? Like what are some of the requirements to get going?
So when you join us, we can help you along the way with that. But we do require, once you're within 30 days of kind of getting with us, to have all your proper documents in order. If you don't know how to do that, we help you. But yeah, have your EIN from irs.gov, have your SunBiz registration.
Yes, sir.
Get your Pasco County business tax receipt, all those things. If what I'm saying to your listeners is foreign, that's fine. We'll send them links. We'll show them how to do it.
Yeah.
We'll walk them through it.
Sure.
But those are the first steps to any business. And even if someone's not part of the SmartStart program, if you need help figuring that out, or just kind of a 30-minute conversation to know what do I do now? Call us.
Really? Okay.
Easy, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And so you kind of touched on the $295 for Co-Starters and the $100 for the kitchen incubator, and you have some free resources as well. Are there any other costs involved for other ancillary things?
Sure. So we have our roundtable program. The Entrepreneurship Roundtable meets once per month. We have one at each of our 3 centers. We also have one specifically for tech businesses that kind of moves around the county. The roundtable costs $150 a year. If you're a SmartStart member or a Co-Starters graduate, you get a year's worth of roundtable included. But if you just want to join the roundtable, it's $150 a year. You can come twice for free to kind of get an idea of it. But the roundtable's neat. It's really a time once a month that entrepreneurs can talk about the challenges that they faced in the last month, what their goals are going forward, help one another. Most of the roundtables are facilitated by a mentor from SCORE, which is an organization funded by the SBA.
Yes, sir.
So that's a great program. There's also the microloan. So the microloan program doesn't cost money per se to get involved in. You have to pay the loan back.
Sure, yeah.
So there's some cost, but the microloan program is another one.
Okay, and so now you said it's the roundtable is free if you're a member.
Right. So if you're let's say you're one of those kitchen food products and you're paying the $100 a month to be a member of SmartStart.
I see.
Roundtable is part of that incubation process.
And so what about like other perks and benefits? So I seen on your Facebook page, for example, like the crate, the co-op market spaces. So I guess first of all, what are those all about?
Yeah. So as a member of SmartStart, so if you're a member, a monthly dues paying member, then that means you have access to our 3 entrepreneur centers for workspace. You really have access to everything that we offer. So the 3 centers, we've got the kitchen in Dade City. We have a more professional and tech services business incubator at the Grove in Wesley Chapel. And then we've got a center in West Pasco in Newport Ritchie. As a member, you can access all 3 of those spaces. You can reserve the conference rooms, the classrooms. You can co-work out of them. You can pop in and open your laptop. You can make a cup of coffee. You could use the kitchen. You could use the podcasting studio, etc.
Really?
So $100 a month is the lowest membership we have. We have higher memberships that include like a dedicated desk with a locking drawer or a private office that costs a little more because there's actual real estate involved.
Sure.
One of the amenities that you mentioned is the crate. So at the Grove in Wesley Chapel, SmartStart also has a shipping container. It's called our SmartStart Market Space, and it can be reserved by any of our SmartStart members to do a pop-up shop or a micro event. So as an example, one of our members last week during the Stanley Cup reserved it because everyone was showing up out there to watch the finals, and they put a table up and talked about their business, and people could come in and get some air conditioning, and there's no cost to reserve that space. Our members can reserve any space that they need. There's some time limits, but no additional cost.
Wow. And you have a podcast studio?
It's nothing like this.
Yeah.
We have a mobile podcasting cart that they can move around.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
We do have some box lights and that type of thing, but you gotta find a quiet place to utilize it well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And so I did see, and you touched on this a little bit on the EDC website, where it shows that you guys have 3 different programs: to start, to move, and to grow. Of course, the start being the SMARTstart, and the move and the grow have their own project directors. But I was just hoping for a second you kind of talk a little bit about what those are and what all the EDC has to offer for an aspiring entrepreneur there.
Sure. So the move and the grow programs are really referring to our recruitment efforts. So we have international and around the nation, we have a team of folks that goes out and lets people know how great Pasco County is, what a great place it is to grow your business, to live, to work. And so they go to conferences all over the country and all over the world, really promoting Pasco County. Mm-hmm. So we're charged by the Pasco County government to promote Pasco County as a place to work in order to grow our economy. So example, you see things like the Moffitt Cancer Center or Amazon Distribution, the robotics center they're building. Mm-hmm. A lot of those programs are a direct effort of the EDC going out and marketing our county.
Oh, wow.
The grow piece is all of our existing businesses we also support, because we don't want to have a business start here and then outgrow and move away.
Yeah.
So we have a team that focuses on supporting our existing businesses. That might be helping them with permitting processes, or finding a new location, or finding talent in their talent pipeline through our Workforce Connect program. We go visit those companies and see what the needs are and try to fill those gaps.
Sure.
Through a lot of different ways.
Okay. Now, how do you guys go about advertising? Like, how do people find out about your services and what all you offer and stuff like that?
So for SMARTstart, we have brochure racks. Is a very simple, old school way, but we've got these nice brochure posters in all the places that a lot of people go when they're thinking to start a business. So in the libraries, at the tax collector, at the government center, Career Source, some of our employment centers have these things. They have each of the programs that I talked about: workspace, guidance, education, a brochure for each one. We also do a lot of social media marketing. We have video testimonials that we will boost. We occasionally we partner with the government on sending out a notice. For instance, during COVID, the tax collector office, when sending out reminders, included some of the programs that we were offering in that mailing. We have postcards that go out to every brand new business in Pasco County to let them know what SMARTstart's offering.
Okay.
Many more. We promote a lot of the entrepreneurship pitch competitions in the area. We're involved in Synapse, which is a big innovation expo that happens here in the Bay Area once a year. Can I ask you about
that? Yeah.
So there is a lot of ways we promote, and word of mouth, things like this.
Yeah.
Our members really share about us a lot, because the success of somebody being able to accomplish something they didn't know they were going to be able to do, word of mouth spreads fast with that.
Yeah. And so what exactly is Synapse?
Synapse is it's a big organization, but one of their signature event is once a year in Tampa. They do a big expo, usually has about 5,000-6,000 attendees. It's all high tech, growth, innovation, businesses. It's like expos, breakout sessions, keynote speakers. It's been at the Amalie Arena for the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Great event. I don't have the date for the next one coming up, because we were waiting on seeing what was happening with the lightning to see what the whole schedule was going to look like.
Yeah.
But it's usually in the early spring.
Springtime. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. All right. So, Dan, I also understand that you're a mentor and you have developed a system called the SPEAR method, SPEAR method, which you have developed over, I believe, the last 6 years plus. Mm-hmm. Could you talk a little bit about the SPEAR method and kind of how you developed it?
Sure. So you do a lot of research before you do these podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So the SPEAR method has nothing to do with the Pasco EDC, nothing to do with SMARTstart.
Right.
It's been a project I've been working on at 5 a.m. when I wake up before I start the rest of my day. But the idea is that, how do you hit the target? How do you achieve your goals? We all get into slumps, and I started to look at what types of things people do to get in the zone. So, Tiger Woods, maybe he has a certain breathing exercise he does before he takes his stroke, or, whatever, different tricks and tactics. And what I found through my research is kind of this virtuous cycle that happens. And I named it the SPEAR method because of just acronyms are easy to remember. But it's a virtuous cycle where you have reduced stress leads to increased productivity, leads to increased energy, which leads to increased activity level, which leads to increased results, which decreases your stress level.
Yeah.
So it's a virtuous cycle. So I'm working on a book. A lot of research is going into it. There's interviews with folks, kind of like we're doing. So it's going to be great. My goal is to have it out by the end of the year. I don't know. I've been saying that for 6 years, so we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
Stay
separate
tuned.
from EDC.
Stay
Okay.
tuned.
Okay. So, are there any? I guess stepping back to I thought that was maybe part of the EDC. So just stepping back real quick.
It's on my whiteboard there.
So are there any success stories that really stand out in your mind from people that you've helped with the EDC? You don't have to name them by name to leave anybody out necessarily, or I know you mentioned Lanky Lassies is one that really stands out, or even in terms of numbers. How many? Do you know how many people have come through the program that have gone on to have successful businesses here in Pasco County?
Yeah, so there is a lot of success stories and some really big numbers. But one the microloan program is a great success story in general as a program. We've helped over 65 businesses launch using the microloan.
Wow.
Which has generated about 300 jobs. The numbers aren't exact. They're in our annual report we put out each year, but that's about it. We've put almost $2 million on the street, and it gets repaid because, it's a loan. It has to be repaid, but the recipients know that it's getting repaid so that it can go help another entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Through that program, there have been a lot of great stories where just that, you don't necessarily need cash always to get a business start. There's plenty of people that have bootstrapped their way to success. Plenty of people that we've helped that don't use the microloan and have gone on to succeed. But the microloan has had some great successes. One particular one that I love is Heroes Downtown Subs and Salads in Newport Richey. And Heroes, he came to us. His name's John Beebe. He came to us to launch Heroes Downtown Subs and Salads. He went through our Co-Starters program, the 9-week boot camp. We also did the microloan. He also took advantage of a couple of the other partners in town. And what's great about his story is he took an example of something he learned in Co-Starters, that somebody else in the room had given him an idea, because that you kind of collaborate together. And the idea was he, as a retired firefighter, and his son as a veteran, wanted to support Heroes. That's why they call it Heroes Downtown Subs and Salads.
Gotcha.
So somebody told him, why don't you do a pay it forward coin? So when somebody comes in and buys a sandwich, you can say, hey, do you want to pay it forward? And they can pay an extra $5 and put the coin in the dish. Well, he started that program. About 20 days later, COVID hit, and the sandwich shop had to shut down. And he called me one day just to talk about everything. And I said, well, why don't you go back to the drawing board with what you learned and just go through the same exercises and see what you can do about COVID and how to survive COVID. He took that same thought process of the pay it forward coin, and he and his wife invented the pay it forward platter. And during COVID, the number is in the hundreds of platters that they delivered to first responders, to nurses,
nice,
to testing centers, to fire departments. And people, law offices and other entrepreneurs, were buying platters to pay it forward and deliver all around Pasco County. So that's just a great story. And he's still around today. He's successful. He's helping other entrepreneurs. He's opening second and third businesses. And there's a ton of examples. I mean, I could do a podcast on all of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so so people can still contact you after the fact, and you'll still give them advice, help, mentorship, whatever they need.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just, hey, you're in the program, you pay your money, you're in, you're out. Good luck.
Yeah. No, we want to support. And realistically, and that's what's nice about the Pasco EDC, if they grow to the point where they actually move into our business retention and expansion group, at the EDC, we have the people that want to help businesses grow. And so there's always something we're here to help support.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. All right, so we'll shift here a little bit. So you're a successful person. From what I can tell, you have a very proven track record of success. If, and you already touched on this as well too, but if there was someone out there who for some reason or another couldn't attend SmartStart, maybe it's geographical, they just can't get here, and there isn't sort of a similar program for whatever reason where they live, but they're genuine, they're an aspiring entrepreneur, and they're looking for some advice. They're looking for some tips and tricks on how do I get started. They have found you and they've contacted you. What would be, again, coming from your place of success, you run this program, you have a history of helping businesses and helping them grow and sustain. What would be some tips and tricks you would give to someone in that situation?
Yeah, the first is I would take their call. Number one, I would talk to them. Awesome. I would recommend that they reach out to a couple places locally, that they look at their local SCORE chapter. SCORE is funded by the Small Business Administration. There's chapters all over the nation. And it's made up of retired executives and other business people that want to volunteer to do just this, to guide and mentor new businesses. So reach out to SCORE in your local area. Also, reach out to the Chambers of Commerce. They might not have programs to get you going, but they'll definitely be able to connect you with other businesses. The third is don't be afraid to reach out to who you might think is your competition, because most of us are humans first and business owners second. Not most of us. We're all humans first.
Yeah.
But reach out to your competition and ask for help. If you're afraid of reaching out to your hyper-local competition, reach out to the next town over and say, you know what, I'm looking at starting something. I really appreciate the business that you've built, and I'd like to learn from a pro. And many people are willing to shadow and mentor you. I have members of SmartStart that I recommend that to. Well, all the time. It's part of the co-starters curriculum that we recommend they shadow a business owner in a similar field. A lot of times they have to do it out of county because they don't want to compete. Because of who we are, there's a lot of people locally that will shadow their competitors, if you will.
Yeah.
But we had a gal, Takia, of MCAM Design. She does embroidery. She actually flew out of state a couple of weeks ago to shadow an embroidery company for a whole week. They taught her everything, the ropes. They showed her. They let her ask any questions. Now, she's been doing it for about a year and a half, but she was able to go to a company that's maybe 6-7 years ahead of where she wants to be and learn from their mistakes.
Yes.
So that would be, most people are willing to teach you, so don't be afraid. I think it was in one of these classic books that we all recommend you read, maybe Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, but he went and asked Edison to be, there was this character in the book that went and asked Edison if he could intern for free to learn from him. So don't be afraid to work for free either and learn from people that have been doing it.
That's it. I never would have. I mean, you think they're your competition. They're probably not going to be inclined to want to help you out. But that's an amazing. I never would have thought to reach out to somebody and just ask them just straight, hey, I want to do what you're doing. Will you help me?
Yeah.
Will you help me? That's a great piece of advice. Okay, and so I checked your Facebook page, and again, man, you have a lot going on. Like, it seems like every other day you're at a new event or a conference or opening of a new business. You volunteer quite frequently. Dan, what does a typical day kind of look like for you? I mean, is there a set structure to how you go about organizing your days, or is it kind of haphazard?
Well, I definitely have to wake up before anybody else in order to get centered. So, I get up at 5:30. If somebody beats me up, it kind of screws up my day because I don't have that 30 minutes to collect and get going.
Yeah.
I always plan the week before because every week is different. So I always look at my calendar the week before, look at the calendar the night before. I was just sharing with my 14-year-old son the concept from Stephen Covey's book this morning about big rocks. You've got to put the priorities in your schedule first, and then you can fit in the secondary priorities, and then you can fit in the little stuff. And believe it or not, you'll have room for all the stuff in life if you put the priorities first.
Yeah.
And so that's it. That's how I structure my week and then day, and then, throughout the day, just go. The other thing to remember because every entrepreneur is going to need it. You think, I don't have the time to do this. I mean, Elon Musk has how many kids? 7 kids or something, and owns how many companies, and sends off spaceships every day.
Yeah.
And still has time to tweet funny things, right?
Right. Yeah.
So if he could do it, he's no different than you and me. We bleed the same blood.
Yeah.
So you got to find time to rest, though, at some point in your day, in the moments, So in the moments where other people get stressed, so you think like you're on an airplane, you're in line to go on an airplane, you're like, oh, when's this airplane? No, instead of being stressed in that moment, realize, wait, maybe God gave you a minute to rest. So just take that moment, breathe.
Yes, sir.
It's like when you're sailing, you're at the top of the wave and the boat stops for a second. Let go of the boom for a minute. Let your muscles rest. And then when they come back down from the wave, grab on again. So.
Yeah. And so you mentioned about having to take a break every now and then. So what is your relief valve? How do you kind of step back and not let the stress of everything eat you alive?
Yeah. So when I find time for a little walk, even if it's just 5 minutes to breathe, take a walk, call a family member that you haven't talked to in a while. There's a lot of little tricks. The bigger ones is I love camping with my family. We just go out for the weekend and take a night or two and explore and see new things that we haven't seen before and just unwind by the fire. That's probably the biggest impact. But throughout the day, little tiny 5-minute breaks. But then once in a while, a campfire and some s'mores, does the trick. Yeah,
walks are extremely underrated. I go for several walks a day just to clear my mind, relieve the stress. When I'm finding myself, I'm antsy and I can't just figure out what I'm working on. I just take a break, go for a walk, come back, and I tend to be in a much better place.
Yeah.
Okay. Are any good books you're reading? Podcasts you listen to? Anything like that?
The Art of Business is a great podcast. I recommend everybody listen to it. Share it far and wide. The best books that there's a book from a local author that I'm reading right now. Daisha, my wife's also reading it, by Peter Kageyama. It's called For the Love of Cities. There's another, his second one is the one I'm on. It's called Love Where You Live. Local author, but it's all about being the co-creator and doing things for the town that you live in. So those are good. That's what I'm reading right now.
Okay, right on, man. And so a question that I tend to ask everybody, what is it about Dade City? What do you love the most about Dade City?
Yeah, so we live in San Antonio. We have the business incubator in Dade City. My wife has a business in Dade City. And I'm sure everybody says this, but the small town feel, but it's not small. It's not so small that you don't have everything you need. There's walkable streets, there's cool places to go. And one of the things that I've noticed in the last 24 months is kind of this resurgence of new businesses and new blood and new life. And that's very exciting. There's a lot of growth that's happening, and a lot of people are scared of that growth. Maybe rightfully, I don't know. But with growth comes change, and humans, we don't like change very much. But going all the way full circle to when we first started talking, our job is to love our neighbor. And so all those people that are coming in are our neighbor, whether we like it or not. And so we have two options. We can either fight against it, or we can embrace those people and create amenities and businesses and make money and all have a good time together and have fun.
Yes, sir.
So that's I'd rather the latter.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, for sure. Okay, we're going to start kind of winding it down here. Are there any topics that we didn't cover that you would like to cover, or anything that we did cover that you want to talk a little bit more about?
I think we hit a lot. I think the biggest thing I would leave people with that I didn't touch on is kind of what I've noticed is the biggest piece. When somebody comes to me and wants to start a business, if I had to predict whether they're going to succeed or not, has nothing to do with education, doesn't have to do with their business plan, doesn't have to do with how much money they have. It's, do they have the grit? Do they have the I'm just going to do it no matter what attitude? And that's the single biggest factor of success in the people that I've seen come through the doors is, are they willing to take advantage of resources that are available and move forward down the field, even if it's just one step at a time?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love that. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll end this with what I call my 3 quick question round. I have 3 final quick questions for you.
All right, I'm ready.
Question number 1, how would you define the word entrepreneur?
Risk taker, but that's so MBA. Let's change it from risk taker to dream maker. How about that?
Perfect. Now, how would you question number 2? How would you define the word success?
Oh, geez, that's even harder. But I would say success is, have you found the intersection of what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and what generates revenue?
Yes, sir. Perfect. Last question. Question number 3. When you think of the word successful, who comes to mind?
I would really say anyone that I see walking down the street with an air of confidence, joy, anybody whose joy just comes from kind of their inner being and confidence. I don't think success is measured by money. I mean, I know you said it's a quick question, but in America, we all have enough. There's probably too much, and there's nothing wrong with getting more. I mean, I'm a capitalist, but success isn't measured by that. Success is measured by, are you doing what you're made to do?
Yeah, I love it, man. Okay, perfect. So, Dan, how can people find you guys? We've talked about your websites, but plug them all again. Any social media stuff, any different events you have, even personal stuff going on, just plug all of your stuff.
Yeah, so check out SMARTstartPasco.com. Like us on Facebook at SMARTstart Pasco. Those are the big ways. But SMARTstartPasco.com. On the right hand side of that page, there's a way to sign up for our newsletter. We send out an update once a week. That's got all of our upcoming events. So sign up for our newsletter, and that's where I'd start for sure.
Perfect. Fantastic. Okay. Well, Dan, thanks a lot for being here. This was a lot of really good information in this podcast. And everyone else, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the show, then just please share it around so others can join in as well. The best way for new listeners to find the show is for our current listeners to talk about us. So give us a like, drop us a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at TAOB Podcast. Please don't forget to support our sponsors, Reliable Resellers. If you're looking to downsize, call the pros at Reliable Resellers, 813-421-5676, or visit them online at reliableresellers.net. I'm your host, Eric Baker, and this has been another episode of The Art of Business. Bye for now.